Hi, I want to address the issue. Do I have to file tax returns if my only income is Social Security? Uh, the answer is no. If your only income is Social Security, you're not required to file tax returns. Um, and I'll tell you where this came up from. A few minutes ago, I got a call from a client in California, and he was worried because he got what's called a 1099-C. So, what's a 1099-C? Uh, helps we represent seniors and disabled persons who owe debt they can't afford to pay. And under federal law, if you have an attorney, debt collectors can no longer call you or send you demand letters anymore. We send what's called a cease and desist letter out to our clients' collectors, and they have to leave them alone. And then we also educate our clients how they can maintain their financial independence. So this man had debt he couldn't afford to pay, and it got behind, and the creditor wrote it off, and they filed with the IRS a form called a 1099-C. Now, the C stands for either collection or charge off or something like that. It means that they report it to the IRS with the theory being that if you get one of these, you have to put that on your tax return as income. Now, um, the his only income was Social Security. He didn't need to file tax returns because the law doesn't. If your only income is Social Security, you don't have to file tax returns. Now, what about this 1099? Did that constitute income that would make him file tax returns? Well, first off, the IRS is unlikely going to follow up on that 1099-C if your only income is Social Security. They just don't do it. But if he was later contacted by the IRS, which is doubtful, he could file what's called a Form 982. Okay, that's a form that establishes whether you're going to owe taxes or not. And at the beginning, one way that you would not owe taxes for a 1099-C is if you were filed bankruptcy. Okay. Another way that you don't owe if you're what is called insolvent. Now, what does that mean? That means where your debts exceed your assets, and that's the case for a lot of seniors. They got a lot of old debt; their assets aren't worth very much, and so they're insolvent. And I believe that they check box 1B, which says I'm insolvent. So they're not going to have to pay any taxes. But like I said, if you're not required to file tax returns in the first place, and you get a 1099-C, generally we just tell people you just can ignore it. If you got notified by the IRS later, then you could file Form 982. But let's say for whatever reason you did owe taxes, okay, because of 1099-C. I haven't seen it happen lately, but if you did, most of our clients that are seniors, if their income is Social Security, then they probably would qualify what's called currently not collectible status, which means even if they owe taxes, the IRS isn't going to collect from them. If your single person is like $2,150, 200% of the poverty line, you can qualify. You can even make a little bit more than that and still get on currently not collectible status. If you're a married couple, it's about $2,900, and you can qualify for currently not collectible status. But that's a side issue. The bottom line is, if your only income is Social Security, no, you don't have to file taxes. Now, if you have other income, you still may not need to file taxes. It has to be over a certain amount. You can search it, Google it, or we've got a form letter that helps you do the calculations. But if your income is only Social Security, you don't have to file tax returns. My name is Eric Olson again. I'm the director of HELPS. If you're a senior with debt you can't afford to pay, you should know that your Social Security, virtually all pensions, is protected by federal law, can't be taken from you. And if you have any questions about your situation, you can call us at 855-HELPS-US, HELPS-US, or visit our website at www.helpsishere.org. Or call us if you got any questions. And we'd like to ask you to subscribe to our YouTube channel for regular updates of videos. We try to do a couple at least every week. And you have a great day.